Hello, and welcome to That Girl Magic, the podcast where we explore the transformative power of wellness, self improvement, and magic. I am your host, Karina Franco, and I'm thrilled to embark on this journey of discovery with you. Hello, how are you doing? Okay, so this time around, I really want to talk about this. So, as you guys know, I do all kinds of content in here. I can do from mindset to beauty to all kinds of things. And there has been a topic that I've been waiting for this time of the year to talk, and it's the perfect moment because it's right before we clock into the last month of the year. So, I wanted to talk about wellness trends in specific associated with the dad girl trend because even though I have named this podcast That Girl Magic, it's beyond the typical scope of the that girl trend. It is about honing in to being the best person that you can be in accordance to your own life, to your own needs, to your own judgment. So, why do I want to bring this topic? I feel like trends can be really fun and it can be really exciting and it can be different. But the problem here is that a lot of people go really hard into it. And what's end up happening, it's that it makes me laugh when I think about it. It creates this unrealistic standard and this pressure on what you should and shouldn't do. So what I've come to realize is I want to go beyond, just doing a trend for a couple of days or a couple of weeks. I hope that my content and I hope that the content coming out from other creators in this wellness space goes into being something that is more personal and balanced and long lasting. So let's go ahead and talk about the popular trends that came out last year and the ones that we should leave behind. So, first and foremost, overly rigid morning routines. I cannot stress enough the the boom that this was. We were seeing everyone's morning routines, and each one of them was more insane than the next. By the time that you realize people were spending 2, 3, 4, 5 hours on a morning routine, people were waking up at 5 a.m., people were going to the gym and doing a 1 or 2 hour session, people were meditating, people were yogaing, people were doing all kinds of things all in the morning. It's almost like you had to get a second job to be able to just do all of it. What ended up happening is like someone that is not on the wellness space, they will be like, this is good for this thing, let me add to my routine. This is good for that thing, let me add to my routine. And by the time that you notice, you were doing 10, 15, 20 different separate things all in the morning, all without a reason, that ended up being too exhausting. I remember specifically seeing one video of a creator that she had like 30 or 40 separate different steps in their morning routine. And it just made me wonder how. And then it clicked to me how. This person does this for a living. This person only does this. And what happens is people that don't understand that that's all they do for a living, they will try to incorporate, if not all, most of those steps. And then what ends up happening is that you have no time. You have no time beyond the scope of anything else. So here's what I propose: flexible morning routines and focus on a couple of things. I really have to honor the people that are like, pick one active thing, one mental thing, one emotional thing, and one spiritual thing. That makes sure that you spend in between 15 to 30 minutes, depending of how much time you want to spend on it. And it allows you to really hone it in. For example, your physical thing, it could be going to the gym or going on a walk or jog or do a yoga session, a Pilates session. Your mental thing, normally it's some sort of knowledge based thing. So, learning a language, reading a book, some sort of task that really works your brain. Emotional thing, normally it has to do with journaling, meditating, some sort of that. And then spiritual, that's up to each person's religion. It could be praying, it could be a longer meditation, it could be all kinds of things. That's up to you to choose. But that allows it to create a more structure without being structure. So you can pick and choose depending on how you're feeling, depending on what works for you that day. If you have more time, if you have less time, if you feel more active, if you feel less active, if you're more tired, if you're less tired. And that creates a more not only adaptability, but also creates a better focus on you actually doing things in the morning that will make you feel more productive. It will make you feel better. It will make you feel good. And I really, really do hope that we go on to flexible routines instead of rigid ones. The next thing, and this is going to be a little bit controversial, extreme detoxes and cleanses. I am tired of scrolling through feeds and seeing juices and cleansings and fastings and my goodness, rapid health improvements and weight loss. And in reality, it doesn't work. I am so glad that I went into the health field and I'm currently getting my degree in nutrition sciences. When I tell you that one of the first things that pretty much was said is I had one teacher that said, forget everything that you ever saw online because 90% of it is wrong. You don't need to detox anything. If you have a liver and you have kidneys, you can detox. If you have a good relationship with making sure that you get fiber, to making sure that you get enough protein, enough carbs, enough fats, enough anything, you will have a good system going on in your body. And weight loss is beyond just drinking this thing or taking that thing and being able to see it. It's so much beyond that. You could have an underlying condition, you could have an emotional attachment to food, you could have an eating disorder. There could be so many reasons to why you are heavier than what you healthily should be. And also, it is a choice if you actually want to lose said weight. It is a choice to do all that. And personally, to me, I prefer the idea of gentle detoxing or even just proper consumption. Basically, just hydrate yourself, eat balanced meals, do daily movement, reinforce the natural mechanisms of detox within your body, such as having your bowels properly going. I know so many people that I've had conversations with that they don't even have a bowel movement daily. And idealistically, of the human body, is having it daily, and not only daily, but the correct shapeage. The correct shapeage, really. A lot of people, and you can look up the spectrum of the feces of the poop, but it can go from being liquid to hard pebbles, and idealistically you should be in the middle, and I'll let you look that up because it's quite interesting that a lot of people don't have that kind. Going on to the next thing, the hyper focus productivity hacks. I am tired of the always on productivity and the life hacks and the constant going, 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 going. And that will go into another point later down the line. But the amount of people that I've seen that they're constantly going through so many things. They're working, they're studying, they're planning this, they're social media contenting, and they're taking care of their family, and they have this long ass morning routine, and they're doing so many things on and on and on and on and on. And then you're like, okay, so when do you have a time to rest? And they don't, and they're burned out and they're tired. Intentionally making time to rest, it is extremely important. And I can tell you this much because I started school on September 9th. We are currently in November. Um I'm recording this November 4th. And if I've had one full day off doing nothing is a lot. And it's because Monday through Friday, I'm in school and studying and doing assignments and doing reports and doing all that. And then Saturday and Sunday, I'm working 8 hours each day. So my only rest time has been sleep. But sleep is not enough for you to have a mental, actual rest. It allows you to rest your body, allows you to rest mentally and all that. But emotionally, it doesn't allow you to rest. You need a full day of rest. That's why vacation exists. That's why days off exist. It's for you to turn off your brain for a portion of time of all the other things that you need to do. And that goes on to hustle culture disguised as self-care. It is not, my people. The idea of turning hobbies into side hustles, pushing the limits. Look, I don't like the idea of productive hobbies. Why do all hobbies need to end up in some sort of side hustle? Why does your pottery classes have to turn into you making pottery for a living? Why do you have to turn something into a side hustle or something else that you need to do? And it kind of frustrates me. Like, how about reading, journaling, taking a slow walk? Those are hobbies. They are perfectly fine. And you don't have to pick those up and turn them into something. Just because you read books, you don't have to do a book talk account. Just because you like to journal, you don't need to advertise something in journaling. You can just enjoy your hobby for being a hobby. And also the overconsumption of self improvement content. And I'm biting my own bullet here because I am talking to you about self improvement. I am talking to you about stuff within that realm. And the reality here is that people are consuming podcasts, books, social media, all these things, and they're constantly in this improvement mindset. And the reality here is that there's no issue in improving yourself, but you need to create boundaries. You need to create boundaries and find joy of where you are right now. You need to look back at what you were and how you are and think, I have come so far and I can appreciate how far I've come. There's no need to beat myself over right now for what I haven't been able to change. If your goal is to reach something, that is a journey, not a race. I knew for a fact a couple months back before I got into college that I really wanted to get into college. And I would beat myself over when I couldn't study one day because I was tired, because I was working, because of this or this or that. I had to take a step back and be like, you know what? You are much closer to your goal now than you were a couple months back. So why are you beating yourself up when you're closer now? And that's the message that I want to put. The issue here is not you trying to improve yourself, is beating yourself up for not improving when you believe that you should. Appreciate the steps that you have taken and appreciate how far you have come up until this point before you start to judge yourself now. You should appreciate what you have been doing so far, not hurt yourself because you haven't done the future thing. I wanted to discuss the impact of these trends on mental health because we were talking about all the trends and everything. But here's the thing. The reason why I wanted to bring this up is because I have seen people not pay attention, dive really deep, and then find themselves mentally completely messed up. You start to lose yourself in these trends. You start to compare yourself. You start to feel anxious. You start to have burnout because you're doing 20 steps in the morning. You're doing all these things when it comes to the gym, all these things when it comes to food, all these things when it comes to skincare or hair care or whatever it may be. When in reality, you need to do what makes sense for you. You need to do what makes sense for your personal necessity, for your personal life, for your needs, for your lifestyle, for what you do in your daily basis. Maybe you doing 20 steps in the morning is exactly what you need, but the next person over can only do 3. And that's perfectly fine. All I wish to make you understand is do not let something like this take over control, and make sure that you create boundaries so that you don't mess up your mental health. So, what can we do and what wellness can look like? What can wellness look like? Definitely flexibility over perfection, flexible routines, adapt to each day, create like your top 10 things that you want to do and pick 3 depending on how you're feeling, how your energy levels are, how you want the day to feel like. Focus on mindfulness and self compassion. So, cultivate habits that promote mindfulness, like meditation, gratitude journaling, mindfully eating, and also be kind towards yourself. I feel like a lot of people, because they feel like they need to have a certain way of being and they assume that you need to have a certain way of being, they will continue to constantly push themselves and have certain expectations, when in reality, all you need to do is just be kind to yourself and do what makes sense for you and your lifestyle. And also, small, sustainable changes instead of quick fixes. I see always people trying to do a bunch of things, and we touched on this on the cleanser talk. But the reality here is like small, lasting habits is better than something quick. Drinking more water, an extra serving of veggies, setting aside 5 minutes to stretch. And what people need to understand is that wellness and taking care of yourself and improving yourself is a journey, is not a quick fix, is not something that you implement and it's done within 24 hours or 48 hours. The reason why a lot of people don't see results is because they expect for things to work really quickly. And then at the same time, we are in a current society where you are pushed a bunch of ideas from different people that may not even have the scientific or medical or known background to even tell you those things. That's why I've created this podcast, was to talk and discuss these ideas from the perspective of not only a user but also from someone that is currently studying nutrition, to bring thoughts and ideas, not fixes. I'm not going to teach you to do anything. I'm going to advise on actual basis. Here's what you do when you tend to have this situation and when you have this situation, and here's how I dealt with it, so that maybe this could work for you. And that's up to your personal experimentation and your personal life. And that's exactly how it should be. If someone tells you that X thing works for X thing, you should be like, okay, does this make sense for my life? Okay, it kind of does, because I have a similar situation going on with my life. Can I input it into my life? Okay, I can. I have time for that without burning myself out, without putting myself in a situation that makes me feel bad. And then on top of that, let me experiment for a period of time that makes sense. And then if it does work, great, I'll keep doing it. If it doesn't work, okay, I tried. Let me search for another option. That's how it should be. Sustainable, not a quick fix. So now I want to ask you, what wellness trends from the past year made you feel good, and which ones felt like it drained you or made you feel bad? Also, how can you simplify your approach to self care and self improvement to make it more sustainable and enjoyable for yourself? And what do you want to continue onto 2025? Like, what do you want to do that has made you feel good so far? And also, I want to remind you that wellness is unique to everyone. It is not just a trend. It is not just something to look good for social media. You should do things because they make you feel good, not just because of whatever X reason. You should be realistic. It should be fun. It should be fulfilling. It should be personal to your own needs, to your own life. I want you to really hone in as we're getting close to the end of the year about your routines and your habits that make you feel your best, most magical self, most wonderfully amazing self. And that is all. Just enjoy yourself, because in the end of the day, that is what really matters, is you feeling good and feeling great with yourself. So let's march onto the next year with a more flexible and kind attitude towards ourselves. Don't forget to follow That Girl Magic to stay updated on new episodes. Let's unleash our inner magic and create the life of our dreams. I'll see you in the next episode.